Thanks for streaming live on the WCNC Charlotte app at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Autumn Bracey in for Ben Thompson. Former Charlotte Mayor Jennifer Roberts says she is willing to return to public service as Charlotte's interim mayor following Mayor Vi Lyles' upcoming departure.
In a letter to city leaders and the public, Roberts says, quote, "It would be a great honor to serve you again," adding that she would not take a salary and would not run for a full term in 2027. Well, she joins us this morning to talk about all of this. Good morning, Mayor Roberts. Thanks so much for waking up early and speaking with us.
Good morning.
Excellent. Let me ask you, what made you decide that now is the right time to step forward and say, you know what, I could give this another go and serve the city of Charlotte?
Well, I tell you, it's not something that I was looking for personally. I'm very engaged in the community in other ways with nonprofits, and I started getting phone calls from a lot of people. And I listened to them. I listened to the community, and I thought, just looking at the situation the city council and the city are in, I thought, it does make sense. I've done this job before. I have no desire to campaign in 2027. As I said, I'm fully engaged in other activities in the community. I don't have an economic agenda or a political agenda, and it would also make it not an unfair advantage for someone who does want to run in 2027. And I think that's something several city council members have mentioned that they're concerned about, since I would not be running. And it wouldn't be another seat to fill if they wanted to pull from someone who is currently in office. So it would really be a seamless transition. And listening to the community, I thought, what they're saying to me makes sense, even though I wasn't really looking for this.
And we know that you most recently served as mayor from 2015 to 2017, and you just touched on it, but how do you feel like your previous experience in that position and also as county commissioner at one point makes you a good choice for this?
Well, I've certainly been in public office during times of community challenge. We have a lot of challenges before the community right now. I learned a lot in doing that. I learned to bring in a lot of voices to help people feel heard. People know me as being transparent. They know me for my honesty and my community access. And that experience I would bring forward. I've also been watching the city and been engaged in a number of things in the past, 6 years. So I think that would be experience I would bring to the table.
So having served as mayor previously and commissioner, you know that the budget is quite always a challenge. It's always a big topic, right? The city budget. In fact, something that the current mayor will see through before she steps away. You've mentioned that you would serve without a salary or benefits. Why was it so important for you to make that known?
Well, I think I want people to know that I don't have, as I said, an economic or political agenda. I do want to be transparent. I am fortunate enough to not require that salary, and I know how tight the budget is. And, even a few $1,000s can make a difference in, whether programs continue and how they continue. And even I know the stress that people are feeling right now with rising gas prices, grocery prices, the sales tax going up in a few months. And so I just wanted to, just make that known, maybe to, ease a little bit of concern for the public at large.
As interim mayor, what would you say that some of your top priorities would be to address if you are selected to serve in this interim period?
Well, the thing that I'm hearing the most from people is transparency. Folks want to hear when there are decisions being made, when there are items being discussed. And folks know that I have been in the community. I remember in stressful times going to during the immigration crackdown in 2016, I remember going to the east side of our city and listening for hours to people's stories about how challenged they were and how difficult it was. And I think that's one of the things that I would bring to the table is I would be accessible. I would go into the community and listen to the frustration. I think, whether or not we can meet everybody's needs or their desires, that's certainly not possible, but when people feel heard, sometimes that alleviates a little bit of the stress and the pain. They want to know that they even if it's not possible, that someone has listened to them, that their opinion matters, that they are part of this democracy, and that we're not just going to do things and run over people without including their input.
A lot of people want to be heard for sure. The announcement last week from the mayor came as a surprise to many people there. Have you spoken with Mayor Lyles?
I have not spoken to her directly, but I have, mentioned things on social media. I really appreciate her service. I think she has steered the city through some tough times, and I have seen. I've been there. I know what it's like to, be the face of the city during a tough time, and you do get attacks on the right and the left, and she has, steered through that. And I admire her, and we have been in touch during her time in office, and I wish her well. I understand her desire to be with family. I know some of her family, and that makes total sense. She has seen the city through a lot, and I want to thank her.
Former Mayor Jennifer Roberts saying she is willing to step in the interim. The council has, I believe, until July 1st is to name an interim, as Mayor Vi Lyles is going to be stepping aside. So great for you to speak with us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thanks so much. Have a great one.
You as well.